Hey everyone, and welcome to the Atomic Cinema Experiment. I am Peter. You know that because this is the bonus episode on Patreon. But Tara's here too,
Hello.
the second favorite of the show. So welcome to your bonus episode here at the $1 and up tier on Patreon.com/MailFest. I don't know why I keep saying that. It's like you know where it is. You're here. You're already here.
You need to come up with like a spiel that you do every time.
Yeah, for the bonus episodes, you're right. I should come up with something like I don't know. Maybe I'll just go greetings, citizens, and then leave you with nothing. Just sit here quietly, as we go.
I didn't
So
even do that this time. I just said hello.
yes,
Hello and greetings.
I'll let you away with it because it's the bonus episode. But when we record the next regular one, back to business as normal.
Got it.
Right, cool. I'm glad we've cleared that up. Didn't want a formal dispute or anything. What happened?
Don't fire me.
What happened? Firefly, if you kick that speaker off the desk, I am going to wring your furry little neck.
Animal cruelty, you heard it here first. That's what the $1 tier buys you.
Trust me.
The true side of Peter.
If
He
there's any
actually hates
cruelty,
cats.
if there's any cruelty to Firefly, he earns every single bit of it. Don't beat up. Move. Right, I'm pushing his ass. Right, there you go. Good cat. Okay, he's moved. I pretend to be violent with the cats a lot. Obviously, I don't actually be violent, but I like to pretend
Of
that I'm being
course not.
violent. It's a little game
We're
we
all
play.
joking. We know that you love cats.
Yes, I got like, there's the black one's just there at the edge, and then right behind me is Garrus on the couch. I'll just snuggle out the way. There you go.
Mine is mysteriously in another location, which means he will make his grand entrance sometime during a really inconvenient part of this recording.
Sometimes you get lucky and they'll just want to sleep somewhere else for they're sick of you for a few hours and they just want to be the other one, and they'll do that.
Yeah, I did play with him for like 15 minutes, not a couple hours ago. Wore him out a bit.
He's like, oh no, Mom, I'm too tired. Leave me alone. It's time for sleep. Time for sleep. So, what are we here to talk about this month? So, last month's bonus episode, let's be honest, was well, garbage. Let's just call it what it
It
was.
wasn't good.
It was garbage because the movie we watched was so
Incoherent.
I was gonna say unintelligible, but yes, incoherent, equally valid. That we spent all of our time just trying to decipher what the hell it was we watched.
Yeah, we couldn't even like give a coherent recap of what it was.
No. So we wanted something a little bit more like a proper professional film this month, and
Yes.
so Tara came to me with a request. We started doing all these time travel movies, kind of spread out on the schedule, and time crimes. We actually just recorded that yesterday. Obviously, that'll be up soon, I think, for you guys. At the time, no, it won't be because this is going up right away. So that'll be up in a couple of weeks for you guys. And we've got other time travel movies in the pipeline, spread out over the next few months. And Tara came to me with a request. Says, Peter, I really want to do Timecop.
I know we had it on the Patreon vote and everybody picked Primer instead, which I understand. But like, you don't want to watch Jean-Claude Van Damme do the splits?
And I did her one better. I said, you know what? It's a kind of a goofier time travel movie in comparison to the other ones, for the most part, that we're doing. So we can maybe call that the bonus episode. And
Okay.
here we are. This
We'll
is
see if it makes our list.
this is a personal favor to Tara. It's Timecop.
You're welcome.
I
'Cause
guess
you get to watch it too.
yeah, as was Rocket Man, I guess. But I'm way more excited about Timecop than I was Rocket Man.
I know you own 2 copies of this.
I do own 2 copies of it, and so the reason why
Thanks for stuff.
I own 2 Blu-ray copies of this because so it came out on Blu-ray here whenever, and I was like, oh, Timecop's out on Blu-ray, I want Timecop. I like Timecop, I'm going to buy Timecop. I grew up with that movie, and so I got Timecop. It's a bare bones disc, there's no extras or anything like that, but it's I think it's the best we're going to get because it's not exactly the Terminator. It's not this beloved classic that people are going to restore and do everything else to.
It's not like The Abyss.
That said, though, the soundtrack, the 5.1 mix is quite good. I wonder if this is one of those early movies, because I know Jurassic Park was the first ever movie with a 5.1 mix, I think, from my memory. Oh, there's that cat inconveniently showing up. That grand entrance we promised. So and this was 1994, a year after Jurassic Park. So I'm wondering if this was actually one of the early 6-track movies. There probably was some before Jurassic Park, and that was just the first big example of it. There's that Gus K, that menace.
You can't be mad at that.
Nah, nah. He is blending in with your shirt a little bit though.
We love gold.
So I had the Blu-ray. I got the Timecop Blu-ray, and then a couple of years later, I was buying more Blu-rays as you do. Well, I've not bought as much recently. I have to admit, it's just something that I've not spent as much time doing.
I've kind of moved on to streaming also, or just buying digital.
I would like to, because it is better. And for anyone who's
I don't get as many as the special features, or they're not like guaranteed.
Yeah. And for the record, if anyone's interested, my Amazon wish list is on the Patreon page at the top. If you want to buy me some Blu-rays, I'll happily take them. You can add to the library.
Buy you something pretty.
You can make the library grow. There's also a speedboat that's about 50 grand on there if you want to buy me that too.
What?
I'm kidding. I don't care about boats. I mean, if someone gave me a boat, okay, I'll try it.
Would you name it the USS, or not the USS? What do you name boats? The SS,
No,
I guess.
HMS?
HMS.
I think all the UK do that. I don't know. I'm not up in my.
That's a UK thing, huh?
I'm not up in my British Navy.
I think civilian ships are just SS, like the SS Minnow, or the Orca. I guess they just have names, huh?
I'll call. Yeah. So what are we going to call?
Would you name it the Mild Fuzz?
No, I'd name it the Hathaway because it'd upset you the most.
Oh, never going on that boat.
You will be on that boat and you will like it.
Ugh.
Welcome aboard the Hathaway, Tara.
That's how I feel every time I watch a Christopher Nolan movie. I'm like, I want to watch this, but Hathaway's in it. Why does he keep using her?
There's got to be like Dark Knight Rises will be playing on one TV and on one deck, and then on the inside, on the sub deck, whatever you call it, the lower deck. That'll have I don't know, Devil Wears Prada playing or something. I don't know. Not that I care about that movie.
I kind of like that movie. She's tolerable in it, but I like it because everyone else is so good in it, and they look so much better because she's terrible.
Okay, so I was saying why I own 2 copies of Timecop. So I was buying more Blu-rays, and there was a 2-pack with Bloodsport that came out in the US, and I'd never seen Bloodsport, and it was cheap enough that I wanted to get it, but because it was only available as a 2-pack with Timecop, so I actually own 2 copies of Timecop. So there you go.
I own 2 copies of Minority Report because I bought it and then forgot that I owned it and bought it again.
I have about 1,000 Blu-rays. I almost did that a couple of times, but I never actually managed to do it. Anytime I did rebuy something, it was intentional, because I got a new transfer or something like that. For example, I have like a Ghostbusters Blu-ray from years ago that was fine, and then they did like a 4K remaster, and it looked much better, and it came with 2, and I'm like, yeah, I'll have that.
Yeah, there was a while where I had 3 copies of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
That makes sense.
I bought it like just on DVD at line at a grocery store. It was like an impulse buy. And then they came out with like an anniversary collector's edition with like 4 discs and stuff, and I bought that. And then it came out on Blu-ray, and I had a Blu-ray player, so I had to get it.
Of course, why wouldn't you? I'm a bit of a quality snob where, like, at this point, if something exists in Blu-ray, I'm not watching it in DVD. I need to get the Blu-ray.
I guess some movies I don't really care too much.
Or stream it in HD at least, but I'm not watching it in SD. Like, that time's gone. I mean, I'll watch something in SD if
I don't know. I'm still okay with DVD.
Don't get me wrong.
But, if I have the option, of course I'll pick HD. But if I'm watching TV and it's on an HD channel, but there's a movie on, like, I'll watch it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, if there's something only exists in SD, I'll watch it. Like, I'm not going to not watch something because that's the only way it exists.
You're going to have your arms folded and be like mad the whole time. Like, when is this getting a remaster?
No, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. Where I draw the line is the abyss, and the reason I've said this before, I'll say it again.
I know. I brought it up on purpose before.
Non-anamorphic transfer on the DVD, so it looks like absolute garbage. So they have to fix that. Give me that you know what? I'll buy a if they do like a 4K on release. I will actually buy a 4K TV and a 4K player just so I can watch The Abyss finally and something that's not shitty quality.
Man, I remember it being a good movie. I don't remember it being a 4K TV purchase worthy. Good, but it's been a long time since I've watched it.
Hey, part of it's that I haven't been able to watch it in like 15 years at this point. So there's an
I
aura.
think I had it on VHS.
Uh,
So I assume I had a decent quality of the film. I mean, I had the VHS quality. At least it was like the theatrical version on tape.
hmm.
There's no like pan scanning or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean it's the right aspect ratio on the DVD, but it's taken from the old Laserdisc and it's not anamorphic. And I could sit here and explain what anamorphic means to everyone because I imagine that a lot of people are too young to know what that means now, but or too old in Tara's case. Do you know what anamorphic means?
No.
All right, okay, I'll explain it quickly.
I know you have a video explaining it, and I've been meaning to watch it because you always bring it up because somehow the abyss comes up at least every other video.
There is a 2 hour aspect ratio history lesson with me and Connor for patrons that you can find on the Patreon page for $1 or more. But anamorphic basically means that when we switch to like widescreen, because obviously we want to watch movies in the proper aspect ratios, standard definition wasn't built for that. Standard definition always comes in 4:3 because that's just how it was designed. So the way they handled that to get a better, because obviously you can. So the original solution was, okay, you've got the movie with the black bars, and then on widescreen TVs you just zoom in. But the problem with that is that you lose resolution. Like it looks really pixely because you're zooming into the middle of a picture, and that's the way the Abyss exists. Most widescreen DVDs, like 99 point something percent of them are anamorphic, and what that means is that the movie's actually in 4:3 but squished in, and then your TV or DVD player actually stretches it back out so it looks right, so you get a better resolution on standard definition at widescreen.
So which version of the abyss have you seen?
I've seen both versions. I've seen the theatrical cut, which I saw first because it was on TV, and then I got the DVD special edition because I liked the movie, watched the special edition, and had my mind blown at how much better. Because I loved the theatrical cut, but how much was taken out of that and how much it matters to the meaning of the film is insane. Like, if I was going through all of James Cameron's...
I don't know if I've seen the special edition or not.
If I was going through all of his extended cuts and saying if there's any that you have to watch the extended cut, The Abyss is the one you have to watch. You can watch Aliens. There's some good stuff in the Aliens special edition, but you can watch it without, and it'll be a perfectly great movie.
I don't know. I think Aliens is better with the added.
No, I agree.
I mean, I get it. You don't like the stuff with Newt in the beginning, fine, but I like the stuff with Ripley's daughter.
No, as do I. I completely agree with that. But I'm saying that Aliens is still a 10 out of 10 without that stuff. Like it's still this perfect movie, whereas The Abyss is gutted of like so much of its meaning. Like, so cause I don't want to spoil it because I want to blow your mind right now and say what's missing from the last like chunk of the movie because it's insane.
We'll
like,
review it. When it comes out eventually.
When it finally comes out in a decent version, yeah. And I mean as soon as, like, if they announce like a Blu-ray of that, like instantly it's going on the schedule for that release date.
Okay.
Okay. So Timecop.
Sorry, Connor. It's for the ace.
Oh, that's for the ace. That's a sci-fi movie. Yeah. We've spoken in the past about us doing that eventually because this show didn't exist. Now it's the ace. It's an ace.
You do like a special guest star.
Nah. Sci-fi is our thing now. Connor's just going to have to live with that.
I believe I recall you saying that he still wanted first dibs on some movies.
Yeah, and I smiled and nodded and said, "Sure, of course, Connor. Yes." I told him what he needed to hear. That's all that happened. That little shit has been like sick in 2 different ways this week, and the schedule's been thrown all away because of it. Is
he okay?
He had the flu, and then he chipped a tooth, and he's got toothache now.
Oh, poor thing.
He's absolutely miserable, and
tooth pain is no joke.
Oh, it's not. No, I've had it in the past. It's awful. It's legitimately the most painful thing I've ever had in my life, and I'm sure that makes me probably lucky because there's definitely other things that are probably much more painful if they happen to you. But it's horrible.
That sucks.
It does.
I hope he recovers and gets to a dentist soon.
He's having difficulty. He's not registered with one, and he's having difficulty like finding one that'll take him.
Oh, Just living with tooth pain right now. That sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't record with him because he'll just be miserable for everything.
Well, I had a call with them earlier tonight.
Did he give everything a bad review?
No, he was fine. Like he was fine during the recording, but he was proper miserable before we started.
I bet. Oh, poor guy. I feel bad for him.
I boosted his
I know
audio.
you don't, but I do.
Look. I'm not going to admit it, but I am sympathetic. Okay.
Yeah,
My part of my character is insulting and treating Connor terribly. Right. That's just part of the charm of myself. Right. I have different dynamics with everyone I record with. You know, I get a different dynamic with you that I do from Connor and Tim. You know, Tim's this like crazy goofball. In fact, just before we started recording, he was giving me nonsense on Twitter. He cracked a really bad joke. Right? I'll tell you what Tim cracked, and we'll start talking about Timecop in a minute. I promise, folks. I feel like if you care about us though enough to be on our Patreon, you probably like us rambling about things. That's my thinking.
Hopefully.
That's my thinking. So he tweeted a
We'll
really
see how
bad
many
joke.
patrons we lose after this gets posted.
So he tweeted a comment saying, "Hey," and this was just without context. "Hey, good thing they didn't go with the original title, Veronica Uranus."
Stupid.
It's a terrible. And I just replied to him saying, "This is a new low," and he said, "You laughing?" Period. Like no question mark. You laughing? Full stop.
Mm-hmm.
It was a statement. He was telling me I was laughing.
Yeah.
Hey Gus.
Gus disapproves.
And then I said that's a bold claim, and he responded with a gif of the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer with Spike and Drusilla finishing kissing and then both turning to look at the camera, which I thought was a really weird message to send me and didn't understand what he was getting at. So I responded in all caps, "This is weird," and he just responded with in all caps with "Yeah, baby!" Exclamation point! Exclamation point! Exclamation point!
What is his end game here?
I have no idea. I have no fucking clue. And which, by the way, we can swear as much as we want on these bonus episodes because they're not being monetized on
Are
YouTube.
we not supposed to swear in the other ones? Because I'm pretty sure I have.
You have done, and I've been like too nice to like correct you on the video, and then I forget to tell you afterwards you're not supposed to drop f-bombs, or c-bombs.
Why is that?
Because they can.
It's just trying to keep things classy.
Nah, it's because sometimes if they detect too many, it'll demonetize the videos
Oh,
on
I
YouTube.
didn't know that.
Yeah. You can say shit on the regular ones. I've been doing that for a while, but I stay away from the f-bomb and the c-bomb, and not that you drop c-bombs left and right. No, I'm lying.
No.
She does every time before we record.
I'm not European. I don't.
She's basically Nick Frost at the start of Shaun of the Dead. Every time we come onto the show, she's like, "What's up, cunt?" That is literally every greeting I've ever had from Tara. All right, let's talk about Timecop. Because Timecop
JCVD.
it's a fun time. What's funny is that you were sitting doing your Arnold Schwarzenegger impression before we started, and I don't know why, because we're about to talk about a GCVD movie.
I can't do a Belgian accent.
I've never tried to.
It's very French Canadian sounding to me.
It's rude to keep a woman waiting. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I wish I could. I wish I could do. I wish I could do
It's
either.
not. I'll say it right now. It is not a cool accent.
Sure. Like I wish I could do a perfect either Arnold, Van Damme, or Stallone. Like anyone. I don't need to do all three. I wish I could do one of them perfectly, and I can't.
You just need to have one that you can master.
Yeah, and then I can do that one. That can be my thing.
Attenborough.
Hello, John. Hello, John. Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Nailed it. Perfect. I can't do that.
I really hate that man. I like that one.
It's a good one.
I need to look up the little speech he gives to Newman. Wayne Knight's character. He gives him a speech at one point about doing his job.
Nedry?
Yeah, Nedry. There you go. My favorite line of his in Jurassic Park is what's the name? When he meets the guy in the sunglasses and the hat at the start of the restaurant, and he's like, he starts yelling his name, and he's like,
oh no, look at guys, he's so funny.
Oh, look at that face.
So pretty. Dodson.
Dodson, Dodson, Dodson. We got Dodson here. I love that moment. Anyway, so Timecop. What is Timecop? We will do a little bit of spoiler free before we get into the plot and go through it, but we'll do a quick sort of impressions and spoiler free. So Timecop is a movie that came out in 1994, directed by Peter Hyams. I'm just going to click on his name to see if he's done anything else because.
Oh yeah, I didn't check.
I don't know. I actually don't know. Oh, he did 2010, the year we made contact.
Oh really?
Yeah, and that's something we will do because Tara's
that
favorite.
Came out before this movie, right?
Yeah, that was 84. Yeah.
Yeah, 10 years before.
He did a movie.
Had Roy Scheider in it.
Yeah, I've never seen 2010. I'm sure we'll do it after we do 2001 at some point.
I haven't seen that in years. I think it's kind of like an Abyss movie also. Did Abyss come out 84?
2010 did. 84.
Yeah, when did The Abyss come out?
Oh, 89.
Oh, okay, it came out after. Because I remember them being kind of like similar, actually.
89's a good year.
89's a good year, yeah.
89's a good year.
I asked my father what movie year he thinks is the best year, like for film, and without any hesitation, he said 79, the year Alien came out. Like, way to go, Dad.
Okay. I think my gut instinct is either 1954 or 1957. If you ask me that question.
Oh yeah.
Because 54 had Rear Window.
Oh yeah.
57 had oh god, I'm trying to remember what one of them was Seven Samurai. I think that was also 54. Yeah, Seven Samurai and Rear Window in 54. Come on, beat that. You can't. Nothing.
97's the best year.
Sorry?
97's the best year for films.
If you whip out Rocket Man right now.
97 has no duds.
I'll find you duds. There's duds in 97. I guarantee it. 97 is the year that Batman and Robin came out. What the hell are you talking about?
Classic.
Oh man, I was about to make an ice joke because of the Mr. Freeze, Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? And I just remembered there's actually a really good ice joke in this movie, Timecop. Later on.
You're right.
We're going to get to that. So look at that. Look at that segue back around to the movie. Oh man, genius. Can't teach that.
This movie has a lot of like T2 moments.
You can tell a lot of the effects in this were like, hey, T2 did all that CG stuff. We can do some of that.
Yeah.
yeah, we'll be talking about that. You can it's definitely of its era, and it was came out in 1994. Not a bad year. For movies, Shawshank, Pulp Fiction, good stuff.
Yeah, 94 could also, be up there. It's one of the best.
And yeah, it does, if you ever want an example of why Academy Awards are dumb and shouldn't be listened to, the year that Shawshank and Pulp Fiction came out, Forrest Gump won things. Like,
I know, right? There's also another one that came out that year. That was like, my sister and I were talking about it just the other day. I'm gonna look it up.
1994 in film. Look at us now hunting for all things. Lion King, Speed, The Crow.
Speed's good.
I love Speed. I do love Speed. There's one bad line. There's one bad line of dialogue in Speed.
Something about Wildcats? I don't know.
No. That stuff's fine. It's when he sees the bomb under the bus and he says to Harry over the phone, "It's big enough to blow a hole in the world." That is a terrible line of dialogue.
Pulp Fiction, yeah. Shawshank.
Pop quiz hot shot. Got True Lies.
True Lies.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, Quiz Show. That's a really good movie.
I have
For
no
Wet
idea what that is.
Funeral, I like.
D2 the Mighty Ducks.
My favorite. My favorite Tim Burton movie, and yours too, which you've never seen.
Tara's trying to talk me into doing Ed Wood because technically it's about a sci-fi movie. D2 the Mighty Ducks though, come on, that's it. It's settled. 94 is pretty great.
The Client, back when John Grisham was king of books and like cinema.
Oh shit, the Roger Corman
New
Fantastic
Nightmare?
Four. Oh yeah, New Nightmare, there you go.
Oh, Little Women, I love that movie. Maverick. That was fun. Three Ninjas Kickback.
Yes, I have seen all the Teen Ninjas movies. I did grow up on those. Even the
Ooh,
fourth one with
that's nice.
Hulk Hogan at the theme park.
My Girl 2 with Jonathan Taylor Thomas. And of course, Stargate, which we've already praised on this show. Pretty good year.
Praise is a little bit in the strong side, I think. A little bit on the strong side. Um, so the movie Timecop, 25 minutes into the show,
Oh yeah, that's right.
was it about? So it's set in it starts off in the year 1994 when it came out. Um, but of course the movie's a time travel movie, and it's about time travel was invented, and the TEC are like the police division to police time travel. The idea being that some criminals and villains who have access to the technology will go back and try and use it for monetary gain or whatever, and it's to protect time. So
Hmm.
Jean-Claude Van Damme plays Walker, this agent for this. He goes through a tragedy at the start of the film in 1994, and then most of the film is actually set 10 years later in 2004 in the future. Which,
And you know it's the future because of the technology.
well, do you know the funny thing is early on there's a scene where a character listens to some music on a portable device, and it wasn't exactly mini disc, but it looked kind of like mini disc, and I thought to myself, do you know what? That's actually a pretty decent guess for where music, portable music would be at that time, because that was right in that era, like right before the iPod was a big thing and MP3 players really took off, where some mini discs were out in the wild. It wasn't like a super big thing that they were hoping it would be, but it did exist. Like it was of that era, and I was like, hey, that's not too bad. They did a pretty decent job. And
Yeah,
then,
it's true.
but then we saw the cars that were using in 2004, and they
It's
went.
amazing how much into the future they think 10 years is
I
in
know
1994.
the cars in this look like these weird plastic space mobiles, and they're all self-driving. And the funny thing is I think now if you made a movie and said it 10 years in the future and said these cars were all self-driving, it'd actually be relatively plausible. Maybe not all of them,
Hmm.
but we're at the point now where they're doing tests, and they're doing all these citywide experiments, and they're trying to make it work. We're kind of on the brink of it maybe being a thing. But in 1994, come on. What are you looking up? You're
Star Trek?
Why are you looking up Star? We're in the middle of a time cop.
Because it's relevant.
Okay, hit me
I'm
with
just
it.
getting it ready.
Okay. That's like me zoning out, and I'm looking at my phone, and you're like, what are you looking at? I'm like, oh, I'm just Buffy. I'm just reading things about Buffy. You hit
I
television
swear
show.
our conversation is very interesting.
Okay, so yeah, so it's set in 2004, and the plot is about a corrupt congressman who is running for president, who he is manipulating time travel for his own gain, and the conspiracy, and Jean-Claude Van Damme has to kind of figure it out and solve things. Also, you have is it Ron Silver is the bad dude?
Yeah.
And then you have Mia Sara as Jean-Claude's wife, who I would like to spoil it to say that she actually dies in the opening of the movie. It's kind of like the big intro. to it.
No, I mean the whole lead up to her death is just all these cliche things that are happening. There's a photo of them that's taken randomly by a person that he gets to keep.
Their marriage is so perfect. It's the most perfect
Marriage is
marriage.
perfect. They're about to have an announcement.
Yeah, and obviously I've seen the
They
movie.
just make love in front of candles.
Yes, it's a. Do you know what, that sex scene is so 90s. It's such a 90s sex scene.
So 90s.
It's so 90s.
But you get a lot more I don't know, 90s still would be behind a curtain that's waving, with the candles and music playing. This one you get some pretty hardcore looking scenes. I guess softcore.
Yeah, I was going to say I would classify as hardcore, but I will say
Oh,
Mia.
you get a lot of Van Damme butt, and you get a lot of boobs.
Yeah, Mia Sara's boobs did stick with me as a young lad. I was single digits when I first watched this, and although bizarrely I completely forgot that there was a full frontal scene later on. There's this isn't even a
Yeah, you're
spoiler.
right.
There's a little
It's
VR.
badge.
Yeah, there's a little VR porn thing at one point. There's a guy watching VR porn, and I did not. You'd think I'd have remembered that as a young boy,
Hmm.
but apparently not. But
I forgot about it too.
Joe, I wonder. I wonder if the version I had, because it was, I assume it was taped off TV. I wonder if that little moment was edited.
I was just thinking that too because you get like full frontal that it would
Yeah,
be edited,
I wonder if it
but they kept the
was.
boobs in.
They kept the Mia Sarah boobs, but they took out the, or maybe the scene was still there, but they just like maybe blurred the crotch just to make it a
You
little
might
bit.
still remember that as a young man.
Yeah, maybe. Because I remember the VR guy like getting hit and the headset coming off. I remembered that moment. I just didn't remember the nudity, which is
I think
weird.
you can gather what he's doing with it by the dialogue.
Sure. Yeah. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was just edited out of the one that I watched over and over again as a kid. Um. Yeah. So that's the premise of the movie. And I think, yeah. So we'll just talk about how much we like or dislike it, and then we'll maybe talk about the time travel and how it's used in this movie before we get into spoilers and just work through the plot. So, um, I mean, you basically begged to do this movie, so I'm going to go out on a limb here and assume that you liked it. But you've surprised me before, so with this new recent
Never
viewing,
assume.
and also, actually, just before I even asked the question, how long has it been since you last watched it before this time?
Oh, ah, it's got to be like 15 years.
Okay, excellent.
It's been a
So,
long time,
how do you
so it
feel
doesn't
that?
hold up.
Yeah. How does it hold up? How do you feel after this viewing of the classic cinematic experience that is Time Cop?
It holds up. I like it. I like it a lot. It's yeah, not like a perfect film, not a great movie, or even maybe a good movie, but it's very of its time. It's very much trying to make Jean-Claude Van Damme the next big action star. I think after this movie, he kind of goes on a bit of a decline.
Mm-hmm.
This might have been his peak. So I think they're going to make him the next Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it's just he doesn't quite have it.
Yeah. I like Jean Claude a lot, and I think he.
This is definitely his best role.
I mean, to be fair, I've heard really good things about GCVD, which I've not seen.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
And I've heard he's quite good in that. I've heard that he's actually a pretty solid actor in all the direct-to-video stuff he does now. And I've not watched a lot of it, but I've heard that
Yeah, he
like.
does like drama now.
Yeah, I've heard that his direct-to-video stuff though is actually kind of worth watching, even though most direct-to-video stuff isn't these days. Like his is actually decent little action movies if you want to get into them. But,
Maybe I'll check him out. I
but
like action movies.
yeah, as do I. This is a sci-fi action movie, of course. It's funny. Like, I feel like there's like this weird thing where all of these guys, like, and I kind of, Schwarzenegger's at the top of the list. You get Stallone right behind
yeah.
him, and then you got JCVD, and then after that, it gets a little bit murkier. Probably like Steven Seagal and other dudes like that. And I feel
Yeah.
like not
Chuck
Seagal,
Norris.
but both Van Damme and Stallone both have this thing where they both did like a sci-fi movie or two in the 90s. So you had Demolition Man, and then a year later you had Time Cop. And I think it's interesting that they all kind of like, oh, Arnold did Terminator and he's, in Total Recall and shit. We can do a sci-fi movie and we get this. We get Time Cop.
Yeah, you get something that's not quite a masterpiece.
Yeah, but I mean,
This movie actually reminded me a lot of Trancers since we watched that so recently too.
I can see that. Honestly, like, the time travel in it makes me. It's kind of Back to the Future logic, but it cares less about its own logic. This movie's not
Yeah,
interested
it
in
really
like,
does.
it,
Nothing like makes sense.
because there's points where someone goes back and changes things, then they come back to present day and everything's changed. But then we have the logical problem of like, yeah, but if everything changed, then why would you originally come in this mission in the first place?
Yeah.
So yeah, you have this weird thing where the people who are traveling through time are kind of like just naturally a paradox who return to the world that has now changed. Which, to be fair, is also what happens in Back to the Future, and I love Back to the Future, and it never bothers me in that movie.
Yeah, 'cause it's such a fun ride the whole
Yeah.
time that you're just like, whatever.
Um, but
Just don't think about it too much and enjoy what you're getting.
yeah. So it's not concerned with it. I mean, I think the one line you get about the science is someone says, I mean, I don't understand it, and neither will you, so let's just move on. Like, that is literally a line of dialogue in the movie. So, the action's mostly pretty fun. I actually like a lot of the set pieces. I like, I like how sort of grungy their precinct looks, their time precinct and stuff like that.
Yeah. I like how you always know who the bad guy is because they have long hair.
Oh,
Every goon in this film has a mullet, a long mullet.
there's one guy in particular who has a particularly, I'll call it flamboyant mullet, and
Is he the one with like the shaved sides too?
but
Yeah.
like the hair at the top's really tall, and then he's got really long hair at the back, and it's like really long.
Oh, it's great. It's glorious. It's so 90s.
Do you know what I love about it though? Is I think they were thinking, oh, mullets will be back in style in 10 years, so we're going to put all the henchmen in mullets.
Yeah, this is what's trendy now and it's gonna hold up.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. So yeah, the bad guys are some goofy things. Like one of the things I noticed early on in the scenes is that a lot of the henchmen have guns with flashlights sort of like on top of them. But it's not like you know how you see this in movies sometimes where they'll have guns with lights on them and it's like just a normal thing you see. This is like literally like a classic big chunky flashlight that's just kind of attached to the top of the handgun, and it looks really big. It looks bigger than the gun, and it looks really goofy.
Yeah,
But I think
it does.
it's meant to look kind of futuristic or something. I don't know. Like
All the futuristic stuff looks so goofy.
it does. Nothing's
And I
good.
don't understand the vehicle
Yeah.
for not just the driving one, but like the one that they use to time travel.
Oh, the
Like
time
doesn't
travel.
make any sense at all.
Well, yeah, because they do this thing where like they have a runway and like they have to like there's like all these technicians like flipping switches and these flashing lights, and this thing basically goes really quick and is going to hit a wall, but the time effect in this is this sort of ripple. It's like,
But why even have the wall?
so they can have that joke that we won't spoil yet. But so here's my problem with it though. It's not so much that they use this. My problem with it is that when they go to the
The
past,
vehicle doesn't go back.
yeah, they just sort of like come out of the ripple. But in the ripple CG, you can tell this is like some of the Terminator 2 tech. They're like, oh, we can use some of this CG tech. But like, so they just arrive in the past through a ripple. They literally just walk through a ripple, right? Even though they were sitting in a little
Or
like,
fall or
yeah.
thrown. Like it's not consistent.
Yeah. But Jean-Claude's first like time travel, or the first time we see him time traveling, he just walks out of it as if
He
he's
just casually
yeah.
walks through. Like he clearly wasn't in a vehicle.
right. But whenever they go back, they've got like a button on them, like a little transponder thing to press to go back. When they return in the vehicle. It like comes out
Yeah.
the ripple in the vehicle. So my question is, where does this vehicle go? How are they magically sitting in it? And how if
And when he
he's
comes back, he's like strapped in fully and like
do you know what it's like? It's almost like his physical body is always in the vehicle, and it's like this duplicate that's actually sent into the actual time period.
I like this. Yeah. We'll stick with that. Now this movie's brilliant.
That is the only way that this makes sense, is that he's always strapped into it, but there's like a duplicate of some kind sent out into the world. I don't know.
Interesting. There's like a tether that keeps him attached to his universe and his
Yes.
correct timeline. Okay.
Yeah, this
I
movie
like
was
this.
clearly not concerned with this making any sense in any way, shape, or form. I love it anyway, though. I
But
grew
the
up.
time travel does not work for me.
Yeah, I grew up
But
watching
the
this movie.
kickboxing does.
Oh yeah, he's doing a lot of kickies, a lot of splits.
JCVD does not skip leg day.
No, he does not. No, he does not. There's someone.
Probably my favorite splits in film ever is in this movie.
Is this when he's in his underwear in the bathroom?
Oh yeah. It's so great. Not just because of the underwear. It's like the greatest scene ever. The only thing that I think tops it is, have you ever seen that commercial with him in it? And
Oh,
he's
yeah.
like on top of two cars
Oh yeah.
doing the splits?
It's two trucks. It's like two big trucks.
Yeah,
that
two trucks, like
Yeah.
mech trucks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's doing the splits, and then there was the joke. Someone did like a CG version. It was Chuck Norris one upping it, but doing it in two planes. But he also had like a pyramid of like people, almost like a cheerleading pyramid on his
Right.
head.
I've seen that, yeah.
Yeah. But that was at the height of the Chuck Norris jokes, which I loved at the time. I make no apologies.
Oh yeah,
Like
they were great.
like
I had a calendar.
like Expendables 1 was not what I wanted it to be, but Expendables 2 just kind of hit my sweet spot a little bit.
I don't I think I saw it. I didn't see the third
It's
one
not a
because
great
I was
movie.
disappointed with both of them.
I mean, that's fair. It's not a great movie, but Chuck Norris's entrance in that movie was every reason why I went. And he just walks
Arnold
out.
was in the second one too.
Sorry,
Arnold was in the second one too. He wasn't in the first, right?
it was. They had a cameo in the first one. They had a one scene.
Is it the he wants to be president cameo?
I think so. Yeah, I think that was. I can't remember the dialogue, but he was in the second one. Everyone was in the second one a bit more, and it made it feel more like it was supposed to be. Um,
Hmm.
and the half Hemsworth, of course, was there to be the the fridged person.
Nice
Um,
try. You'll never be full Hemsworth.
never be full Hemsworth. What does that make the Hemsworth on Westworld, the third one?
Oh, he's the oldest. So I think among the Hemsworth like inner circle,
Hmm.
I think he is respected and revered and feared. But
Okay.
on the outside looking in, sorry, dude.
I love the idea that Chris comes home at Christmas and he's like, "Ha ha ha, I'm Thor," and then he just hits him in the back and then goes like, "Shut up, you little shit! I'm still the boss of
Yeah.
you." He's like, "Yes, brother." um, yeah. So, I mean, it's just spoilers. Let's just start working through it. Let's make
Yeah,
sure the review's not 5 hours
it's time
long.
cop. We
Um,
recommend it.
yes, we do. If you're a fan of this type, because again, it's not like a genuinely good movie, but for
No, it's a
me,
little Judge Dredd-ish, although I like this one more.
I like this more than Judge Dredd too. And do you know what the thing is that I genuinely feel that goofy action movies and sci-fi movies of this era are better than the ones of a similar kind of caliber from now, if that makes sense. Like I think,
Yeah,
and I
I
don't know,
know. We watched one recently and it was horrible.
we did, yeah. I feel like today when you do like a movie that's like not great, I feel like I typically just hate it. Whereas there's a lot of movies and it's not even just ones I grew up because obviously you're saying, oh, you've got nostalgia, you grew up with this movie, but there's other
I don't know.
movies.
There's a charm in these movies. Like
There
even Van
is.
Damme is charming in this movie. Like really, you know, and they're not it's new movies that come out, it's like they're just it's a script written by a committee, you know, like
Yeah,
on
it feels
what
that
will
way.
make people I don't know, it's like the McDonald's of movies. Like what will get people to come back and like get like I don't know, it's just like the right amount of fat and crunch factor to get people to come back and buy it again.
Right amount of
And it's just
jokes,
not
right amount of this, right amount of that. Yeah, like I think this has a
it's
charm.
so formulaic and like it if it tries too hard, like I don't like it, but these movies don't have that, you know. Like there is a commercial value in it because there's a lot of like we want to get young boys so that they buy toys for this movie or whatever. But they also have like directors who really want to make something cool, it seems,
Yeah, it kind of
you
feels
know?
that way. Yeah, I think there's so much charm, and there is definitely movies of this type from the 90s and the 80s that I never saw as a kid, but when I watch them now,
Mm.
I still end up liking them. I still end up, I mean, horror movies is even easier to talk about because horror movies I like. I go back. I love finding slasher movies and like stuff like Chopping Mall from the 80s. Even looking at action movies, Van Damme. I got a triple Blu-ray pack a few years ago, and it had like a movie he did in like '89 called Cyborg, and I thought that was a fun little
Oh yeah,
movie. I was like, I'd
I've
never
seen
seen it
that
before,
movie.
and I was like, yeah, this is kind of fun. I'll get into it.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I think
I
bad
like the Under
movies.
Siege movies.
Oh, I like those movies. I love those movies. So I'm not gonna
They're
lie.
great. Yeah, they're just
Um,
fun.
like
It's just
Steven.
the cook.
I mean, yeah, Steven Seagal is a complete prick in real life, but like Casey Ryback, man, like taking on Tommy Lee Jones or the dude in the second one, like, and I might even like the second one more. And I think the reason why I like the second one
Yeah, Under
more,
Siege too. It's
yeah,
great.
is partly because the music in that one's so good. I really love the main theme, but also, just like everything. Like I love like he hides while all the chefs get murdered by the terrorists, and then he walks out because earlier on when he first meets Heigl, who's now he's looking after because it's his niece and his brother's dead. He's like
Mhm.
he has like a really bad encounter with her, and he's like, I'm not trained for this. And then all the chefs get murdered when the terrorists get on the train. He walks out and it's just nothing but dead chefs, and he's like, this I'm trained for. It's so good, so good. Oh.
Yeah, those are dumb movies, but they're really good. Uh, yeah. So anyway, like, and plus, I think it is unique to like the 90s and the 80s. I don't think we get very many. Once I think maybe the turning point is Black Hawk Down, because once that came out, that kind of just changed the way movies were shot for a long time. Everything was
Mm,
like shaky cam and grounded, and like I don't know, like a lot of action movies just changed after that. And I think Black Hawk Down is a really, really great film.
yeah,
But
I like it as well.
but like everything that came after that, where they're just trying to make Black Hawk Down, but with aliens, or like I don't know, like they just
Yeah,
everything just kind of became gritty and grounded, and like sometimes it works, but a lot of times it's just not very fun.
yeah, no, like I agree, and I think that's actually from a period where Ridley Scott was on a bit of a roll because he had Gladiator, he had Black Hawk Down, and Matchstick Men was kind of soon after. He had a nice little period there when I thought, oh, Ridley Scott is making good movie after good movie. I'm actually kind of excited, and obviously now he's kind of a lot more hit and miss.
Yeah,
But
Martian was good.
Martian was good, yeah. That was like the one shining example of the last like what 10 years for
It's
Ridley
like he
Scott.
still got it, and
Yeah.
then he makes like the Egyptian movie.
Well, here's the thing. I think Prometheus looks great as a film. It's just a bad
I hate
script.
that movie.
Oh, I hate that movie too. But like,
I hate it because I'm always like, I seem to always be like around people who are just like, it's such a great movie, and
oh
I just
no.
I don't get it. Like,
Mm-mm.
really?
And it wastes such a good cast as well, which is maybe one of its biggest sins. But I've always said about Ridley Scott is he's a fantastic visual director. If you hand him a good script, he will go and make gold. But if you hand him a mediocre script, you end up with Prometheus. You end up with, you know, Covenant.
Don't bother. I'm not going to do it until I'm forced to for the Ace.
Oh, we're going to have to do it at some point. We're going to have to work through that franchise, and you know it.
Well, I'm looking forward to half of them.
Oh, yeah, me too. I'm looking forward to
Maybe even I actually kind of enjoy the Alien versus Predator movies.
both
I
of
know
them.
they're not good.
I'll
Huh?
accept the first one. Requiem?
I
Oh,
know it's bad, but it's like so bad that it's kind of watchable.
oh, we're going to have words about Requiem. Oh. That is the only movie where, like, it's shot so underexposed that the daytime scenes look too dark. That is, like, insanely impressive in how bad it is. I don't even... Anyway. Uh, so movies of this era have charms, what we're saying. And I think movies like Timecop, movies like Demolition Man, which we'll definitely do at some point,
Yeah, it's a fun
movies...
one.
Like even 95 Judge Dredd, I think they have a charm.
Universal Soldier.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I like that. And don't get me wrong, like this conversation about movies being too gritty now, or action movies taking themselves too seriously. Every so often, of course, if it's a genuinely good movie with a great script, it'll work. And you get something like District 9, which we'll also do at some point, where I think that is
Right.
it's a gritty movie, but it's a fantastic gritty movie with a lot of heart. Like you really get into
Right.
that. And any attempt of having a more goofier action movie, it's almost like Marvel's kind of taking that. Like we'll have jokes in our
It's
movies.
true, right? Like that's why I still like going to see those movies, even though like sometimes I think I'm burnt out on superhero films, but I know I'm gonna have a good time in the theater because they have the right formula.
And
It's still just you're gonna come here, you're gonna have a good time. You're gonna laugh, you're gonna be like on the edge of your seat, and there are characters that you care about.
yeah, out of like what 22 movies, there's like two that I flat out dislike.
I don't think I did dislike any of them.
That's fair. I mean, that's
I think
fair.
they're all pretty good.
I mean, this is,
Yeah.
obviously it's a taste thing, but like, I mean, that's a good track record. I mean, even if you agree with me that 20 out of 22 are at least good, I mean, that's pretty good going. And they're not
Yeah.
great. Like, obviously there's a few great ones, there's a few really great ones, but like a lot of them are just like,
Well, sure, and a lot of them, like the really great ones, depend on like you watching all the
oh
other
sure,
ones.
yeah, it's the culmination of it all. Um, but like that said, though, I mean, obviously, this is the thing. As much as I'm praising this for being a bit cheesy and having like this charm to it, like it's never going to be my favorite type of movie. Like as much as I'm saying the Marvels kind of
No, they're
adopted
always going to
that,
be like a guilty pleasure
yeah. But
film.
like my favorite superhero movies are still going to be things like Dark Knight, where it is the serious one that takes itself seriously, but it does it whilst being good, which is a big difference to a bad movie taking itself seriously, which is painful to get through.
Yeah,
um,
like any of the other Batmans. That's not true. I actually kind of enjoy the old ones. I know they're not good, but I don't care.
my I have a lot of problems. You can go and find me and Connor reviewing all those Batman movies if you want.
Hmm.
I had some extensive thoughts on those. Batman Returns sucks. I'm just going to say it, and you can fight me on it all you want, people. Um, but not as much as Batman v Superman.
Yeah, that's a new kind of low, huh?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Actually, that's what's wrong with action cinema. Just look at Zack Snyder as a director. Like he's like what's meant to be one of the big action directors. In fact, Joey, my favorite action director is right now. Actually, just for pure action movies, Matthew Vaughn.
Mm. Yeah, he's good.
Kick-Ass, Kingsman, 1 and 2.
I would say the one who does the stuff with Tom Cruise a lot, like he did the last two Mission Impossibles, and
Christopher McQuarrie, I believe, is a
yeah, I think he's pretty great
yeah. I
because
guess
those movies are such a fun time, and I love Live Die Repeat, which I know is not the right title. Edge of Tomorrow.
as well as good. Yes, that's the guy who did the first Bourne movie, Doug Liman, who did that. I actually,
Oh, it was?
yeah, that wasn't McQuarrie. That was
I thought that was McCoy. Oh, okay.
I'm sure that was Doug Liman.
Okay. Well, I still think the guy who did the last two Mission Impossibles is probably at the top of my list.
That's fair. That said, though, every time these come up, I always say this, but I like those two movies. I think Ghost Protocol is the best one in the series.
I don't know. I really, really like. Wait, Ghost Protocol is the fifth one.
That's the fourth one. That's the one where they go to the building in Dubai. Had Paula Patton in it.
I thought that was the fifth one.
That's
So
the fourth one.
Rogue something is the fifth one.
Yeah, Rogue Nation is the one that I kind of made fun of because it has the exact same plot as the first movie.
Yeah, I love that first movie.
Yeah, but no, it is like see in the middle of the movie, like the middle of Mission Impossible, that famous scene where he's breaking out the CIA and he's on the wires, right? They're breaking in to get a floppy disk of data because it has a list of names on it. Mission Impossible 5, Rogue Nation. They're doing the exact same thing, except this time the vault with the it's a USB stick, right? Because obviously it's like 20 years of a difference, and it's in like a vault that's inside like a dam, and but it's the same. And from a plot perspective, it's the exact same thing.
Which one did they have to break into the Kremlin?
Was that
Because that's like my favorite scene.
Oh, that's the third one, I think. Was it?
No, because Simon Pegg's in it, and he's got the screen that he sets up.
Okay,
so,
I think it's the
like,
fifth
they
one.
can walk closer, like down a hallway, and
because it wasn't the newest one, so that was the fifth one because it definitely wasn't.
yeah,
Ghost,
I love that scene so much.
Ghost Protocol. Although Simon Pegg was in the third one though. That was the first one he was in.
He was. I actually don't. I think I only saw that once in theater, and the second and third one I don't really remember very much.
The second
I love the first one. I watched the first one like 100 times when I was a kid.
Yeah, second one's terrible. That's the only outright bad one I think. But I genuinely think 4, 5, and 6 are the best. Like half of it, if that makes sense. I think that's a really nice consistent run they've had since.
Yeah, Fallout was great.
And Joe, what makes those work? And this is going way off topic here, but Joe, what makes those work is that those
the action film.
It's because they're action movies and they put action first and they actually do stunts. They actually focus on making the action look good, and that's what their main goal is. And it does look. And Tom Cruise.
We get that in Timecop also. The action is real.
Yeah, a lot of stunts, a lot of jumping off things, a couple of obvious stunt double moments, of course, but that's what it is.
We get a lot of kicking. That's the thing with Van Damme. He's always got the reach on you because he uses his legs.
Let's get into the actual plot and sort of work through it because there's some really fun scenes at the start of this movie. Early on, you have first of all, it has an overture like over the opening titles, which I miss. I miss movies doing that. No movies do it anymore, and I like it. Gets me in the mood. I like hearing the music and. We open in like during the Civil War, and the Confederates are moving their gold.
That Confederate gold.
And this lone wolf is just standing on the trail and is like, I suspect you here be transporting gold. How about you give me that? And he just asked nicely a couple of times, and all these guys on horses are just like, how about you move along? We'll warn you one last time. And of course, he just pulls out his futuristic machine guns and just mows them down like they're nothing.
I'm a little confused by the scene because the guy is missing like a front tooth, and I can't help but think like, you're from the future, like you can't get that fixed.
I want to say that he's role playing really hard and he's got like a fake set of teeth in, and it's all just an illusion that he's missing a tooth. That's what I'm thinking. No.
That's the only I couldn't take my eyes off it. Like, why would you just get that taken care of? You're in at least 1994.
Yeah. I think it is 1994 because they reference it at the meeting, because the next scene is at the White House and they're talking about how, oh, this has already happened. We found gold from like whatever year, so we have to set up this agency to deal with it. But a lot of jokes
Which
in
is
this.
why I brought up Star Trek, because Star Trek does have like a temporal, I want to say, police system. I don't remember what it's called. I was trying to look it up, but I couldn't figure it out. It's like a department of temporal anomalies or something. But because time travel exists in Star Trek, you have to like make sure that people aren't like just always going back in time to mess things up. So there is like an order that follows people back in time. Or if they find out like a Federation officer went back in time and came back, they have to like have a sit down and talk about everything that happened and make sure they didn't screw anything up. So that's why it's relevant. It's the hit television show Star Trek.
Joe, I love that you went to so much effort to put your Star Trek reference in, and this very scene has a character say the line, "Beam me up, Scotty."
I know, right? I gave a little cheer.
Yeah, you could have just so easily got your reference in. Yeah, because they don't really believe him, but then like, oh no, we found this gold and we have to police this, and it's like, okay. So that's when we get the introduction of Van Damme and his wife, who are at the mall, and the big banner saying 1994. Yeah, it's so 90s. And they have this flirtation. You know, he's standing behind her, and he's like, "Oh, you must never leave a woman waiting." He's like, "Well, you can't miss your chance then." So some cheesy bollocks. And they kiss,
I
and
think
they're
like
happy.
I thought it was something to do with like please a woman.
Oh, it was, yeah. Never enough opportunity, or
It was
never.
like
Oh no, because it was a time foreshadowing pun. That's right. She says, he's like, "There's never," because she's looking at clocks, and he's like, "Oh, there's never enough time." It's like, never enough time for what? Satisfying a woman. Well, you
that's it.
never want to miss your opportunity, then, do you?
Like, ooh. All right.
Yeah, there's a couple of that as well, actually, because there's another moment when they're walking up the escalator where they're joking and she says, "I can see the future," and I'm like, "Oh, come on, we get it. It's a time travel movie. Stop dropping time jokes and puns."
I know. You know what I hate about these scenes?
Yes.
The two of them together? I hate the way they kiss. It's so like, ugh. There's way too much tongue. Like you're just focusing on it, and it's just like, I don't know. It's like gross kissing. It's not like romantic kissing. That's all.
Whose direction do you think that was? I think that was Jean Van Damme took the director, said, "Hey, can you direct her for gross tongue kissing? That's what I'm in the mood for
I
today."
know, and it's like his tongue too. Like, bleh.
Hey, he's got good reach with the tongue as well, not just the legs.
Hey, he works out. All muscles.
All muscles. That tongue gets a workout. But he has a little scene here where there's like a purse snatcher, and he just like all he does is just like lift up his leg to the guy's face as if he's like going to kick him, and he just holds
Yep.
it in front of his face.
Establishing who he is.
Yeah. So just in case you didn't know, audience, I am Jean-Claude Van Damme. Just in case you weren't aware of it, I am Jean-Claude Van Damme, and
Yes.
the
Master martial artist.
he's like,
And your local policeman.
and he's like, what does it say? Is it Wolverine? Between the lines. I should fuck off or something like that. Like,
Yeah. Does the Wolverine thing come back, or is that like literally a type of shoe?
I think it's just the type of shoe. I think it's just printed on the shoe. I don't know. I don't know if it's maybe a weird X-Men reference or whatever. The X-Men animated series was big in '94, right? That was around that time.
I think 98 was the first one, right? Well, the animated series, yeah.
Yeah, the animated series. But yeah, so they go home, they have sex, because they got the afternoon off.
It's so 90s.
Very erotic. There's candles, music, lots of cutting in between and out. And
Get some
afterwards,
Van Damme butt.
some Van Damme butt, some Mia Sarah boobies, which did stick with me as a young lad, and
As established.
they're just they're just so perky, right? These perky
She's a
boobs,
very young woman in
they're
this movie.
just so perky. Um, so afterwards, postcoital, just take all the romance out of it. Postcoital, the lying there, and she's like, "Oh, honey, I've got something that I need to tell you." And here's the thing: can I just ask? Unless it looks like it's bad news, in which case it's a breakup, is there any time in any movie or TV show ever where a woman says, "I've got something to tell you," and it's not a pregnancy related thing? Can I
I
just?
can't think of it,
Yeah, every time.
especially post-sex.
Yeah, like I'll be honest. I've like flinched in public. Like women I have never even like had more than a conversation with will say, "I need to talk to you about something." I'm like, "What? No, I didn't do it. You're not pregnant. At least nothing to do with me." I'm kidding. I'm just joking. Right? Okay, everyone, calm
I
down.
mean, it's true. It's definitely what like the first thing that men jump to, it seems. Are you pregnant?
I suppose it's true though. If a guy says, "I want to ask you a question," like the assumption is it's going to be a marriage proposal. Like, assuming they're not already married.
Mm, if it's like with the worry on their face, I
No,
don't know
no,
about
not with
that.
worry. Like, but like nervousness. Like,
Oh, okay, yeah, maybe.
I've got something I wanted to ask you. You're being kind of nervous and like, doing the collar and like,
Ooh.
yeah. It's not what I always remember a scene from Sabrina the Teenage Witch where Zelda thinks the vice principal is going to ask her to marry him, and he gets down on one knee and says, "Can you do my taxis?" I always remember that scene, and she's so upset. It's great.
It's a really funny show.
Oh. Um, so yeah, it's now sex, and he gets a call in from work, and she's like, "Oh, please don't answer." And he's like, "No, I have to. I'm a hero. I have to answer my call to
I'm
Jay."
a cop.
Yeah. Uh,
You know what you married.
so she gets all dressed up, and she's like just going around in her bathrobe, and she's like, "There's something I need to tell you." And it's just it's proper thunderstorm. It's raining. It's like proper pissing down, and he's like, "Can I wait till I get back?" And she's like, "Yeah, it can wait." And you know. So he's leaving, and then Mullet Man attacks him when he's outside. They beat him up, and they actually shoot him. And luckily, though, he wears his vest for work, which isn't that far fetched. That's fine. Like I know not every
Yeah.
cop puts on a vest, but it's just believable enough that he would. Um, he's. I mean, I don't know what streets he's policing. He could be in the tough one of the tough areas.
Who knows? Yeah.
Hey, if I
Maybe
was,
this is like the same continuity as RoboCop. Maybe he's in Detroit.
let's be honest, if I was a cop in the US, I would never not wear a vest at work. Never.
Yeah.
Standard issue, damn it. Um,
I'm wearing one right now, and I'm just a civilian.
honestly, there's a sad bit of satire here where, honestly, you maybe would want to think about it.
My town was in a mass shooting last year.
Yeah, that's so scary. There's been so many. There's been like
All right.
two this past weekend. Like there was a
I
great
know, it's
tweet.
horrifying.
There was a great tweet from Chris Evans about they're so frequent now that the president got to do two in one tweet. Like got to mention two in one tweet.
Yeah. He even got the name wrong. Not in the tweet, I think, when he was like talking about it. He said Toledo, Ohio.
Yeah. He also
Wasn't in Toledo.
I didn't actually look into the story too much. I just read the headline, but apparently he visited victims at the hospital and was angry there wasn't enough coverage of him doing it so he could get credit for it. So he demanded like footage of him be taken.
What? That doesn't sound like our president. Hey, you guys got your own Trump to deal with now.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
I know.
I don't want to talk about
Don't
it.
want to talk about Boris, huh?
He's such a fucking tool. I don't I don't even no, that's not.
I mean, we both should be ashamed. It's true.
Hey, no one voted
As
for Boris.
representatives
No
of
one
the
no
country.
no one voted for Boris Johnson. He just kind of wormed his way in by default. That's the sad part about it.
Yeah.
It's all Brexit's
He
fault.
gets to have tea with Queen.
Brexit was the turning. Brexit was the. Do you know what's so funny about that is that was actually before Trump became president. It was kind of almost like the UK did this really stupid thing earlier in the year, and then the US went,
Hold my beer.
just watch, just you watch. Oh my god! All right, let's not get
We're number one.
let's not get depressed about real world gun violence, please. When we're watching a dumb action movie, and I've actually heard this. I've heard people who are into action movies typically who have kind of like grown out of them because they don't really like it because of all the real world gun violence, and I understand that. I do. Um, I think for me
I
though,
kind of separate them, I
yeah,
guess.
for me they're so separate, and it's kind of like almost anything in a movie doesn't bother me that way. Like nothing like
There's no cruelty in like any of these movies that we watch, you
oh,
know? They're just
absolutely.
kind of, and I don't know.
It's
Like,
good.
I don't like guns. I don't. I
Yeah,
hate guns.
it's goofy bad
But
guys
like,
getting shot.
I
Like
like watching Arnold Schwarzenegger murder people
absolutely, no,
with
I do.
guns.
I just there is a line with certain things, but I think for the most part I can separate things, and I just accept. No, this is a beat in the movie. The whole idea of like just the idea of like good guys and bad guys shooting at each other is like it's just such an old story. It's such a like literally
Yeah, I mean, we watched it in westerns. We watch it
yeah
in action films. We watch it in war films. We watch it in science fiction films. Like, we're always gonna watch it.
yeah.
It's just the our method of destruction that we have.
I know obviously like entertainment's changed a little bit because of the way things are, and it should. Like I don't think we should be necessarily making these exact movies now like the way they were before.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it's okay that movies can be of their time.
Absolutely, and I also think that like again the line where it would feel murky if it was still being cheesy would be if it was actually like a mass shooting style scenario. Like if someone went into a place and just started unloading into civilians, like no, this has to be a serious movie exploring the effects of a mass shooting and has to be done with some taste. Otherwise, it's just exploitative.
Yeah.
And um, so I didn't mean to go that serious tangent. It was just because we somehow get into
Well, we're
uh,
talking about guns.
guns,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, but back to the fun. So yes, he gets shot. That's what it was. He was wearing his vest, and I cracked the joke, and then we went down the path.
God, we're only in like the first 10 minutes of this movie.
It'll go quicker. It'll go quicker. I promise. The title of your sex tape. So I'm sorry. I watched the entire season of Brooklyn Nine-Nine at the weekend. I'm sorry. I watched season 6 because I hadn't watched that yet. Are you familiar? Did you watch the show?
I've seen episodes of it. I know
Seen
it's
episodes of
funny,
it.
but I haven't watched any season of it. No.
That's fair. That's fair. That's a running joke in that is that someone will say something.
TV is not my area of expertise.
Yeah. So someone will say something that could be an innuendo, and then Jake will say, "Title your sex tape."
No.
That's his thing.
But you said it, not me.
I know. Well, no, sometimes he says it himself. Like it can be it's like a Michael Scott thing where he says that's what she said. It can be someone else. It can be himself.
All right.
It's a moment that's his. That's what she said.
Okay. It's good. It's a good one.
The
I'm
best.
sure it's very funny.
The best one is when he does it after he's had sex with someone, and then he says, "It's title your sex tape," and then goes, oh, "Title of our sex tape," and it's that's a funny moment. Anyway, so house blows up. He runs out to try and save her after he gets up, and the house blows up, and his wife is dead. And we cut not forward in time technically. We cut to 1929, I think it is. It's right around the stock market
Yeah.
crashing, and we're on Wall Street, and
Yeah.
someone's committed suicide, and this guy's going up to his fancy office, and he pulls out the newspaper, and then he pulls out a 2004 newspaper, and he's looking for what's going to have good value in 80, 90 years, whatever it is, and
Mm-hmm.
starts like buy stocks on this, get me 100,000 of this, and he's and so that's great. And then this is when G Van Damme he walks out of his
JCVD.
he walks out of his Ripple, and we get some exposition here. We understand this guy was his ex-partner, and he's kind of turned, and he couldn't have done this himself, so he's been funded by someone. It turns out to be McComb, the evil politician, played by Ron Silver, who sent him here to get.
And Jean-Claude Van Damme has long hair, so we know that it's the future.
Yes, he has longer hair. Yes, but he's not willing to go before he fights himself. This guy, because he sets up that if he goes back and talks, that his family will be killed, so he'd rather just die here if he has to.
Yeah.
But he before he fights back himself with this ridiculous looking like circular shotgun, He has like this old timey boxer dude come in with like the mustache with the twirls.
Yeah. Rashy.
Yeah, and he has to fight Van Damme, and Van Damme just like kicks him because he says like, "Oh, I fought O'Sullivan 10 rounds myself," and then Van Damme knocks him out with one kick and goes, "I saw Tyson beat so and so on TV."
Let me tell you something. None of the comedy works for me in this movie. All of the jokes just fall so flat, and I think it's because Jean-Claude Van Damme's just not good at comedy. Like he can't do delivery.
Do you know what the fact is I agree with you, but I think his delivery of the jokes is so bad that it comes back round and is funny again for me, but not in the way it wants to be.
The comedy, oh yeah, the comedy does not work. But I'm glad it's in there, so maybe you're right.
Yeah, you're glad it's there. It wouldn't be the same movie without it.
Like his one-liners all come off like just really, really rough.
Mm.
And it's probably because the Belgian accent is just not cool. Like it's not an Austrian accent.
One day for the bonus movie, we're going to have to do Robo War, which is a Predator knockoff that Italy made. So you know it's going to be great.
Oh yeah, JCVD was almost in Predator.
He was almost the Predator, yeah, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why I'm bringing it up because you brought up one-liners. So it's such a rip-off of Predator. It has the scenes where they're shooting into the jungle. The only difference is that it's like a robot instead of like an alien. But they even have the scene where they sort of attack the camp near the start of the movie, right? And you know that famous moment in Predator where Arnold throws the knife and he's like, "Stick around."
Stick it out.
Yeah. So Red Brown from Space Mutiny is the Arnold Schwarzenegger character, right?
We gotta watch it.
Yeah, he throws the knife. It sticks against the wall, just like Predator. He turns around and goes, "Stay here," and then walks off. And he basically looks at the camera and almost winks as he does it. Is beautiful.
Oh man, does he have the Dutch and Dylan?
Oh, I don't know. I've never seen the whole movie. I've seen clips from it. I know he gets to scream a lot. If you liked him screaming in Space Mutiny, he does a lot of screaming as he fires his gun. He's like, "Ah!"
That is my favorite.
Yeah.
Rip Brown screaming.
It's great.
Ah!
So Van Damme, we have this big scene where the guy jumps out the window and he jumps out after him, and actually they go through time and do the wobble effect mid-air.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy basically just pleads guilty when he gets back, and apparently the system here is so extreme that they sentence him to death immediately, and they just put him back into the 1929 Falling Through the Sky from where he left off.
He got his wish, right?
He got his wish, yeah.
He died in the past.
And I laughed. There's like a policeman at the bottom, 1920. He's like, "Oh, poor fella. Tomorrow could have been a brighter day." Like I always remember that line.
I know.
Oh,
I think he was an Irish guy, right?
Yeah. He was kind of that New Yorky Irish kind of vibe. So yeah, and we see Van Damme. He goes home in his silly self-driving car that looks so cheap and nasty as a practical effect. And we see that he just watches home videos of his wife whilst drinking booze in his sad, lonely apartment.
Yeah. I like that his booze bottle is like this brownish color on the outside, but the top is still clear. So when he sips it, it just looks like he's drinking water.
I mean, vodka's clear.
I mean, it could just be vodka, but I don't know. It looks like
it's maybe a whiskey bottle or something like that,
yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like it was designed to look like a brown liquid.
Well,
but they just have a tinted bottle.
The two explanations is they just don't want the actor getting drunk on set, and they had no fake whiskey colored beverage, or they're just it's futuristic. In 2004, this is a drink that people have.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because I know for us, like 2004 is like 15 years ago. Oh God.
Yeah, it's our old future. 15 years ago. God damn it.
I know. I was 15 when this movie came out.
I wish you didn't say that.
Hell, I was 5 when Timecop came out.
I was slightly older.
You were slightly older, yes. Look at the bright side. If they ever invent this time travel technology, you can just go back in time a few years and we can be the same age. There you go. And I won't be able to make fun of you anymore.
I'll go back a couple more years. Just so I can make fun of you for being older.
Oh, you're so old, Peter. So yeah,
Older,
so
but it's different.
there's a tour that happens in the precinct. McComb, the villain, comes with this guy who's going to be approving budgets and whatnot. And they get a tour, and McComb's oddly interested in the case that Van Damme just had, and there's like several scenes in this movie of him in his limo eating. I think it's nuts,
Oh my God, I know he's always eating in the car.
and it really made me want some nuts. Like I was wanting some nuts to munch on because of him.
Something about a self-driving car that makes him want a snack.
I know, I know.
Or it was clearly just the same like day of shooting.
Very, very possibly, very possibly. They just redid the makeup on the guy. I guess his head bashed against the window by him. Um, but they send some goons after Van Damme because he seems to want to solve the case because that's his job. Oh
Right.
dear. And he has this fight scene. Like he wakes up just in time before this guy tases him to death, and this is where we get to. This is why he's in his underwear because he was sleeping, and he jumps up and does the splits on the kitchen counter too because
Awesome.
the guy uses his
One of the
taser.
greatest scenes in sci-fi action history.
He uses his taser on the water that's spilled, but the water's actually reached that guy's foot, so he kills himself, and Van Damme's fine because he's up on the counter.
50,000 volts.
Oh dear.
Did we get a one-liner though? I don't think we did.
Not from Van Damme. I think the
No.
bad guy says something like,
Missed opportunity.
yeah. Um, I'll give you one. He should have said while he was still doing the splits, he should have been like, they should check his receipts because it looks like he got overcharged.
Stupid.
So
It's too many words for Van Damme.
I know. Has to be a short one liner. This is when the internal affairs chick shows up. Um, Fielding, her name is. She like turns out to be for internal affairs, and she's kind of like trying to stick close to him. He goes to see his captain. They're kind of like arguing about him having to be investigated. He yeah, him and his captain have a nice kind of relationship. I actually want to kind of almost commend like the first time he like brings up, oh, the guy that we just got fingered, this bad guy, like he's the one who sent him back. And I like the relationship because I think the obvious thing to do here is that he's going to suspect his captain, and they'll maybe even play it with us that the captain might be a bad guy the whole time.
I really thought that they were going to go that way too, even though I've seen this movie before. Like while watching him, like, is he bad? I don't remember, but I guess he could be because he's saying that he's not, and we
Yeah,
know that half the policemen are.
don't get me wrong, they could have swerved us with it, but like there was something about the way where he was kind of annoyed that Van Damme didn't agree with him that he obviously wasn't one of the bad guys. He's like, this is what you're
I
supposed
liked him.
yeah, this is what you're supposed to
Yeah,
say.
he's a good character.
Yeah,
He's
no.
like just easily likable. I'm trying to figure out who the actor is.
He is Bruce McGill, who I don't know from.
I know him from something. Is he in? Maybe he's in Veep. I don't know. A lot of these guys that I watch in 90s movies are in Veep
He was
now.
in My Cousin Vinny. He was in Animal House. No?
He's great. I mean, yeah, maybe I know from those, but like,
He's still working. He's still on stuff today. He's been on a lot of stuff.
yeah, he's in Lincoln. I think he's just always one of those, hey, that guy.
He was in the original MacGyver for like 18 episodes. Okay.
And
There you
he
go.
was in the remake.
Oh god, we watched the pilot for that. It was mm-mm.
Not good.
Oh no. Oh no. It was the most like network produced by committee TV show I've ever seen in my life. It was taking itself
Is it CBS?
CBS, yeah. It was so CBS. It was. But if someone said, "What does a CBS show feel like?" I would give them the pilot of MacGyver, the reboot, and say this is what a CBS show is.
Yeah, he's sort of in like everything, isn't he? Oh, he's in Star Trek Voyager, Captain Braxton. I actually don't know what that episode is.
Somehow we get back to Star Trek. Was it even intentional?
Yeah, but it's Voyager. That's like my least known series.
Uh,
Oh wow.
did you see they were talking to the Doctor actor from that show about being in Picard season 2?
Oh yeah, Robert Picardo.
Yeah, Picardo. That's not confusing.
Yeah, I love that character. He is the best. He and Seven of Nine are the best part of the series,
Okay.
and they're the ones that are coming into the Picard show. So yeah.
Neat. I wonder if we get anyone from Deep Space Nine after a bit.
Um, I mean, Cisco and him have history, but once you watch Deep Space Nine, you'll be like, no, he's not coming in to
Hmm.
the show.
Okay, okay. So basically, they get a time anomaly coming from 1994, and they're going to go check it out. Obviously, Van Damme wants to investigate everything that's going on. It's at this point in the movie, actually, I think we get the full frontal nudity, where we meet Ricky, the
Hmm.
kind of weird, nerdy, like tech guy who's there. And his character really only exists to show another change when we come back afterwards, because he's turned into like this like
Yeah.
suit wearing like smart individual who wants to be called Richard. Um, I, I don't know. So this is actually bizarre, despite the fact that he's
I'm
traveled.
sure that even like the suit wearing version of him still watches the porn on VR.
But he's just more subtle about it. Doesn't do it in
Yeah,
public.
it doesn't do it at work.
So, despite the fact that Van Damme's traveled back and forth in time already, like we never saw him arrive when he came back with his partner before, or how he went there. So this is actually the first time in the movie, like a good halfway through, where we actually finally get to see the little ship they go in that goes down the track, and the explanation that it's like really hard and you might swallow your tongue if there's an accident. You're going to hit that wall. Those two blood splats on the wall.
It looks
That's
it looks painful.
it does, yeah. Because the face does a
But
sort
again,
of weird
why the
shaky
hell is
thing.
that wall there?
I don't know. I don't know.
Just have a track without a wall on it. Like it's super easy to not build a wall on a track. Because the room keeps going. It's just they put the wall there as a
Yeah.
barrier for some unknown reason. Just to, fuck with the guys who are in the ship, I guess, or the transport.
It's scarier if there's a wall there and you're in the ship.
Mhm.
But sure enough, yeah, we cut to them like falling out of like they're right above the river in Washington. They fall into the water, and they like. I do like though that Van Damme does say "damn it, Ricky" as he falls in, as if Ricky's the one who programs like where they're going to land and had them fall like above a river. So yeah, so Van Damme and Fielding get to know each other a little bit. She mentions that she's going to turn 16 tomorrow in 1994, and she wishes she didn't have a sex with this guy, and it's not really that relevant except for the fact that there's a joke about it much later in the movie. So that's why it's there.
Yeah, it's such an awkward joke too.
Yeah, so they go to this warehouse, and it's the young McComb from 1994 getting out of this deal with this tech company, and then 2004 McComb shows up and he's like, "No, don't be stupid. This is going to be worth a lot of money. You're going to keep this deal." And he's like, "Don't touch me," because we learn this very valuable rule that the same person can't occupy the same space, so they can't touch each other.
Yeah, it's a paradox.
Very dangerous. Very dangerous.
It's the only paradox that exists in this form of time travel, apparently.
Apparently. And what's weird to me is that they don't really make a point of showing what it does like before the ending. Like they just kind of like say it a bunch of times. It's kind of clunky in that way, where they never really do it. And the other thing I think is clunky here is that the big thing here is that, Van Damme jumps out with a gun, tells them to like hold their hands up and so on. Sorry, he says freeze, and for some reason Ron Silver McComb has this weird line which says, "Freeze, that's such an inappropriate thing to say. Do I look frozen?" That's not what it
I
means.
know. What? It's so weird.
Like,
That's what I'm saying.
That's
The comedy does not work for me.
that is a very and don't get me wrong, I like it because the payoff to this is quite good, but it's almost like they wanted it to like be really notable that like the saying freeze didn't work, so
Yeah.
it was memorable. So they have this really awkward thing. I'm like,
Sure.
everyone knows what freeze means. It's not what.
There's no way this is confusing.
Yeah.
And also, like, the setup or the explanation of what happens when two of the same people like touch
Mm-hmm.
and occupy the same space. Like, yeah, it's clunky, but the whole rest of the movie are like, okay, when am I going to see it? Because they know it's going to happen.
That's true. That's true. You're kind of waiting for it. So so the thing I was going to say was clunky before I get to the funny part is that Fielding turns out to be working for McComb. She's working for the bad guy, and she kind of ruins the plan here. And I do think it's really weird. Like I feel like she's introduced like 10 minutes ago, and she's already turned on Van Damme.
Yeah, you don't really have like a chance to be like, oh, she's really great, and like they have this good chemistry, and maybe she could be like, I don't know, like what's the chick's name in RoboCop? Like whatever her name, the blonde chick to the RoboCop
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
partner, or even I guess not Diane Lane's character in Judge Dredd, since they end up making out at the end.
That's
It's
not
super
Nancy
weird.
Allen's character in RoboCop. I know who you're talking about.
Oh, Nancy, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like just this work husband, work wife relationship thing. Um, but nope, she's just immediately like, after they've invested so much in her, like so fast, they can get a lot of her exposition, and then all of a sudden, nope, I'm secretly evil.
Yeah, but there's a lot of like shooting out here. There's a lot of jumping up the walkways and dodging and running. The highlight of which comes when a tank of liquid nitrogen is hit, and this guy's arm completely freezes, and then Van Damme just shatters it with like a pole or whatever it is. I don't think it shoots
Hmm.
out. I think it has like a pole. Um,
Yeah,
and
they're
there's
in like this warehouse that looks very much like the end of Terminator 2, but like a much, much cheaper version of it.
Yeah, but so his arm completely shatters, and there's actually a pretty insane little effect here with all the arm shattering, and then as he falls to his death, like you just see this like sort of like frozen like semicircle, like where his arm used
Hmm.
to be. Um, I thought this was over.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was it was ridiculous, but it was fun ridiculous. And then
Yeah,
out walks Ron Silver, and Van Damme's like, "I should have told him to freeze."
I don't like Ron Silver.
Uh, oh, I mean, yeah, I don't particularly like him either. He's a very sleazy looking guy.
Well, I
Um,
also don't think I don't think he's very good.
Yeah, that's fair. He's always run silver. Because me and Connor did Blue Steel a few months ago,
Hmm.
and he's in that, which means I've seen two movies with Ron Silver in it. Because this was the only thing I really knew him from.
Yeah, I think it would have been better with I'll get it. I'll get it. Like I love Paul Reiser in Aliens,
Okay,
because he's just the right amount of smart where you can sort of buy him as like a political type or like someone who's charismatic, but there's still something about him and that you just don't like
it was a bad call,
just don't
Ripley.
trust him.
It was a bad call. Do you know? I was just thinking your camera's not frozen all night. I was
I
literally
know.
just thinking that, and then it
It's
froze.
been good for a long time.
Yeah, yeah. I think Ron Silver just always looks like a yuppie. He just looks like a yuppie from the '80s, and I don't think.
Yeah, and it looks like he doesn't really care about being there at all. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
like I just don't buy him.
So no, we have this great moment, and there's a bit of a shootout again, and Silver leaves. Although he does talk to himself, says, "No, just cash these checks so that we'll have money in the future. Also, do me a favor and lay off the fucking candy bars." Uh, which I think is funny because they look the exact same, like physicality wise. They don't look.
Yeah.
One does not look chubby on the other. So that was
Yeah, man
a
likes candy. I get it.
yeah, candy's fine. Oh, cool with candy. It does do that thing where the young one gets like a scar, like he gets slashed in the face, and then the old guy, the older one, gets like a scar appears on his.
Hmm.
I was like, okay, we're operating under that. We can live with that. Um,
Yeah, the rules of this universe is a little bit confusing though,
yeah, it's very wonky because it doesn't necessarily jive with how.
especially at the end. It
Yeah,
was like, okay, so what happened to the other version of you then?
yes.
Doesn't make any sense.
So yeah, so we had this scene, and in all the commotion, Fielding gets shot a couple of times, so she's like down and out, and Van Damme comes back to 2004, and everything's changed. Now McComb owns the company that makes all his tech, where he works, and now he's like winning the president's race, whereas before he was struggling. and it's clearly going to happen. He's not even friends with his captain anymore because before, like, he was inviting him to dinner with his wife and things like that, and now it's like, wait, I liked you. We were friends. This is hard to buy. Like, did that humor work for you? Was him like being like bemused by the idea of like, wait, I'm friends with you? What?
Yeah. I mean, maybe because I like the character.
Yeah, I thought it was amusing enough.
Yeah.
And he basically just tries to convince him that everything's changed and that he's doing this, and he tries to find records of Fielding, and she was never in the system. She never worked here. She never did anything. And he's like, oh, she can be my witness. If she's still alive in a hospital somewhere in 1994, I can go back and get her. But they're actually shutting down the time program, and it's clearly because McComb doesn't want anyone to be able to go back and fix things. He wants to have a monopoly on the time travel. So his captain, Matuzik, is willing to help him, and he takes him into the ship. At this point, there's guards who won't let them in, so they have to fight them a little bit. And he actually gets shot and dies as he's like pressing the button. Like, he gets shot, and he's with his final like action hits the big red button to send Jean-Claude Van Damme back to 94, so he's got a chance to fix things. And obviously it's a time travel movie, so he'll be fine at the end. It's fine. Yeah, he'll be back.
Yeah.
Same with the wife at the start of the movie. I'm like, it's a time travel movie. We're going to fix this. They're going to fix this by the end.
Yeah. You knew that was going to happen. They're going to find a way to have a happy ending.
So this time when he arrives in 1994, this is a scene that I always remember from this movie, is when he arrives on a road and there's a big truck behind him, and he has to like duck and like just lie on the floor or lie on the ground while the truck goes over him. For some reason, this scene always sticks in my memory. I don't know why.
I think, well, also it's the only scene where I think you can really see that there's a green screen effect.
Sure.
Because the shadowing of him when he's underneath the truck like doesn't work. It almost turns like into a greenish black.
Yeah.
It's a cool scene. It really is. But the CGI, I think, or the green screen effect looks really dated.
Yeah, so he goes to the hospital, tries to find her. He does, and she's actually... And this is the other thing about her character that's kind of weird, is that obviously she's been betrayed and shot, so obviously she's willing to like turn back to the good side and like testify, but
so fast.
It just feels so fast. Like, everything about her character is so fast.
It makes her like evil, like character thing that she does seem totally like a different person.
It does. So he goes off to try and get her blood sample, and then instead finds his wife and discovers that she was pregnant. She was at the hospital that day, finding out, which makes sense, because it's the day that they were coming back. And that was the other thing, is that the bad guy at this point, in one of these scenes where he's eating in the car, he says, "Okay, we can't kill Walker in present day; it'll raise too many questions. But if we kill Officer Walker in 1994, no one will really notice that. It's not a big deal.
It'll be a statistic."
Yeah. So this is clearly the day where mullet men and all that are going after him and his wife. So, but on
which
that
we see
day,
because he goes to the mall.
He does. After he finds Fielding dead, he goes to the mall and finds his wife and protects her from the big mullet men. And we find out that she actually... Well, it depends how you look at the time travel in this. Like, the first time we saw it...
I get very confused by it, yeah.
Yeah, the way I think it works in this movie is that the first time we see all this stuff at the start, he's not spoken to her from the future. It's because this time she does die. Like, things change, because as soon as he starts interfering at the house, everything actually happens differently. So the way I'm seeing it is that there was a time where it's just the bad guys went back in time and did this, and now this time he's now back here as well, so he's also, here and changes things again. But she knows, like, that's the thing, when she's saved and she survives and lives out these 10 years, she always knows that there was a future version of him there that night that helped, and he never does until now, I guess. Kind of. It's weird. Because that's the weird thing, when he goes back to the present day at the end, like, he is, he still remembers everything, but technically a version of him over the last 10 years has existed with his wife. I don't know, it's odd.
Oh, Gus was being cute and looking up at me.
Oh,
he's not doing it no more.
Oh, there we go. There's his face. Yeah, that's a Garrus move, that right there.
Oh yeah. This is good. If he's on my lap, then he's not scratching at the door.
Causing trouble, yeah. He's in a contained situation
Yes,
on the
it's
lab.
isolated.
Yeah. So yeah, he tells her a lot about where he's from. Not I doesn't tell her she's dead in the future. You know, he lies about that as much as he can.
She guesses it though.
Yeah. And then he like
It's weird that she
watches.
goes straight to it.
Yeah. It's the way he speaks to her, I guess. She just kind of jumps to it, but um,
Yeah, that's true. It's like, what
he,
do I look like? You look like you do now.
yeah, you're perfect. Yeah, that's what you like. No, I have no recent photos. No, none of that.
Mm.
So the big finale of the movie, like which takes place at the house, and it's it's dark, it's raining, and it's you've got two Van Dams like running around, like one's more knowing, the other one's not, because you have one
Yeah.
where like older like future Van Damme like lures one of the bad guys out to like it's like a clothesline that has like a pulley system that moves, and he tricks the bad guy by like moving the t-shirt or whatever it is like towards him, and the guy shoots it, and then Van Damme like jumps out and uh, shoots him in the crotch with his own gun.
I know. You never shoot a man in the dick.
And he's
Everyone
like,
does that.
"Oh, that had to hurt." That's his one-liner after it.
I know. That's so dumb. I hated it.
Of course, it had to hurt. You get shot in the
Had to
dick.
hurt. He's dead.
Oh dear. Um, in the house, you got Melissa, the wife, is like being grabbed by a bad guy, and you've got young Van Damme. They're sort of chased up onto the roof, and uh, another moment, what was it he says? It's when he's dangling off the young Van Damme is dangling off the roof, and so is Mia Sarah, and the guy's like just standing there laughing, and he points the
Mm,
gun at him. He says something. Oh, that's gonna bug me now. He says something stupid, but
you're right. I don't remember.
yeah,
But he's
but
like when he's stomping on his hand and stuff.
yeah, yeah, but Mia Sarah shoots him anyway, and yeah. So,
That's a
uh,
cool moment though, because I didn't really expect it. I thought she
hmm,
was not so damsel in distress in that moment.
yeah. Oh, and I told the lie. I guess young Van Damme did kind of see himself at one point because there's this sort of standoff moment where all hope looks lost, and they've got like her at gunpoint, and older Van Damme's there, and then young Van Damme kind of saves the day by like coming from the window and like shooting
Hmm.
some bad guys. That's the whole thing. So that, and then Ron Silver shows up. He's like, "Yeah, you've changed so much," and it's future Ron Silver, it's old Ron Silver. And he's like, "Well, we're just going to have to C4 this place, and it'll kill me, but then my younger self will become president, and I'll never come back here, so it's fine." And I'm like, "Okay, the time travel rules are at this point are all over the
Bizarre.
place." But then young Ron Silver shows up because Van Damme had the foresight to invite him and pretend to be his older self, so that now both Ron Silvers are here, so they're both going to die.
How does that work with his accent?
Well, he left a message, I think. So I think it was like a telegram
Okay.
kind of
All
thing.
right. I was confused by that line.
That's fair. That's fair. So yeah, and this is where we finally get to see what happens when the same person occupies the same space.
Yeah, they go full altered states.
Yeah, Van Damme gets Melissa to elbow him or whatever in the nads, and he basically grabs younger Ron Silver and pushes him into old Ron Silver, and we get what I'll refer to as, you remember that scene from Terminator 2 with the T-1000s melting?
Hmm.
Yeah, it's basically that. It goes all blobby and like sort
Yeah.
of becomes liquid metal.
So
It's
I was thinking altered states too, when he just becomes like a blob of a human. But
yeah,
this one
yeah.
has more movement, like T2 does.
It definitely reminded me of Liquid Metal and T2 a lot, and I was like, yeah, they definitely liked that movie and wanted to use
There's a
some of the
lot of
effects.
yeah, there's a lot of T2 in this movie.
And to be fair, it's not like they overdo the CGI. Like they do only use it at these
I don't
key
think so.
moments. Yeah,
Yeah.
still a lot of stunts, a lot of practical work. It's not too
Mhm.
bad, in that sense. Uh, but he has
It's
to,
all real splits.
yeah, he has to run out with me, Melissa, to the outside before the house explodes, which it does, and he lays her next to his younger self, and he comes back to present day, where he finds that everything's back to normal. Ricky's back to being Ricky. He's friends with the captain again, and he's told to go home. Before he does so, though, he runs into Fielding, who is just a officer there now, and he says hello. She doesn't know who he is, and then says, oh, by the way, and then says whatever the name was of the kid that she had sex with. Like, oh, Marty Thompson is still waiting for a second chance. Before as he
Yeah,
walks
remember
out.
that guy who had sex with a 16-year-old?
I assumed he was the same age. I wasn't assuming that it was someone older, but
It's true. It's still a little awkward. Like, it's a weird
yeah.
joke.
Um,
And also, like, clearly something that she regrets.
yes, yes. Although she does not act shocked, she just kind of smiles, like, "How did he know that?"
I know. You sly fox.
How could he possibly know that? Um, is that him? Did he get an accent and look really different in the last like 15 years? Like, what's going on? Or 10 years even. It's just 10 years, which means she's like 26 now. Which I guess she looks kind of about that.
I guess, yeah.
I guess I have a hard time buying that an internal affairs person is 26. That feels like something that you don't get to until you're a bit
Yeah.
older.
She's got a kid too. I mean, unless it was that Martin guy.
Oh dear. So of course, Van Damme arrives home. It's the house that they always had, which has been rebuilt apparently, and he gets out his self-driving car because all he said was he got in the car and said, "Take me home." He didn't, give an address or anything like that. So it takes him
Mhm.
home, and out runs his 9-year-old son. Gives him a hug.
In a really great 90s vest.
Also a very 90s haircut. He's got the mushroom haircut.
Oh, yeah. The bowl
Uh,
cut,
yeah, the bowl cut, and then out.
the denim shirt, and a vest.
Hmm.
It's so 90s.
And then
A
out.
kid who looks nothing like Van Damme.
And out walks Melissa, and he's happy to see her. He's like, I'm not going anywhere. They go in the house, and the very romantic music plays because we've got a happy ending as the
And
director's
they
credit
touch
comes up.
tongues.
The touch
Yeah.
tongues, yes. As he's holding his son, that son's going to need therapy after that kiss. No, Mom, Dad, what are you doing? Please, no.
I mean, it's fine. It's just it's so uncomfortable in a movie. I don't know. Like it doesn't seem romantic. It seems like an actor who's taking advantage of this part that he has to like do a gross makeout scene with an actress, a hot actress, you know? It comes off kind of weird.
Yeah, I wasn't really noticing it to be honest as I was watching it, but I believe you
I
saw
did.
it. I believe you
I
saw
mean,
it.
he is European, so
Yes.
I guess he kind of gets a pass.
Hey, I'm technically European. Did I get a pass?
No.
What?
I
Oh
don't
no.
know. You could try it on the ladies if you want. See if it works.
This is unfair. What does Jean Claude Van Damme have that I don't? Don't answer that. Don't answer that.
Yeah.
I do not want to hear it. I do not want to hear how great his legs are.
Good legs. Good butt.
Good butt, yeah. Yeah, I don't have a butt. That's just not a thing I have. I guess that wraps up Timecop, more or less. What's your closing thoughts on Timecop?
Not a great movie. Time travel is very confusing. The method of time travel is very confusing and pretty dumb.
Here's,
Um,
here's the thing I'd say about the time
but
travel.
fun. Very,
Is
very fun.
I would say the time travel's not isn't confusing in a sense. In a weird way, it actually feels really simple. It's simple, and then it just ignores things that should make it confusing, and it doesn't. It just doesn't pay attention to them. It's just like, no, that's just how it is, and that's it. Just deal with it.
Yeah, it just doesn't want to explain anything.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, maybe, but you can't help but like wonder. Like he comes back and he's oh great, this is a good one. Like he comes back and you're just like, okay, so what version of him was here before he like when he went to work that day? Was it like the grizzled version that showed up just now, like out of this stupid car from the future?
Well,
Or
she's not confused by his hair, so I assume at least had the same hair.
hmm So okay, but like, what happened to that Van Damme? Like, is he gone?
He
Did he
morphed
get
out.
erased?
He morphed
Is
out of
there
this
two of
one.
them? Like,
I,
is another Van Damme going to come home?
It's a good question. You know, it's like, yeah, like the Van Damme who stays with her and experiences those 10 years of life, like he's kind of been erased as soon as this one comes back, because now he's him.
Yeah, it's a little confusing.
Would you please open the door for that cat?
I've heard it's best to just ignore them.
I don't know if
So
that's true. I mean, sometimes I'll be stubborn with Firefly when he's
it's
doing that.
best for like training, but it's probably not best for podcasting.
Probably not bad for podcasting. No,
This is a bonus episode, though. Everything's off the rails.
it's very off the rails
How long have we
episode.
been talking?
Um, this will be about a 2 hour episode by the time we're done with the outro.
Wow, this is final countdown level.
And the first hour was almost entirely off topic, so you know,
My God. Damn it, guys.
it is what it is. No, I like Timecop a lot. It is not a good movie, as you say. It is a very goofy movie. But you know what? Like, I love the design of stuff. I love the various settings and plots. I love the
It's fun.
charm of
It's
it.
so fun.
I'm into it. I
And it's
enjoy
peak
watching
Van
it.
Damme.
I enjoy watching it, and I'm glad I watched it again. And you know, we've spent so much time in this episode talking about 90s action movies that I feel like we have to do some sort of like, I don't know, like once every few months we turn into an action podcast to just, because here's the thing, Connor doesn't like action movies, like these types of action movies. So he's never going to complain that those have been taken away from him.
Yeah, Connor's too classy.
He doesn't care about Under Siege 2. He's not even seen Under Siege 2.
Yeah, I guess he could. I mean, so long as we can stretch the definition of science fiction, I think we can make it work.
I think we just do like I don't know, once every like 10 episodes we do an episode of the adrenaline cinema podcast instead.
I don't know, that might be kind of confusing. I guess we could just do an influx.
Yeah, we could just do that flux, yeah. Once in a while, just do an action movie just for the fun of it. Just for the
Right.
fun of it. It's been a long time since I've met anyone who wanted to talk about Under Siege 2, alright?
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Do you know what? That movie was heavily edited when I was growing up. Like it was cut in the UK for a long time.
Yeah, I think I've only seen the edited version because I would watch it on TV. It
Yeah.
would always like there was like a Steven Seagal marathon, it seemed every
Sure.
summer.
And you know, even the DVD was cut. So I remember importing the US DVD so I could see it uncut. Luckily, that for the Blu-ray though they'd actually resubmitted it and it's all uncut now. But there's a couple of scenes in the movie, especially early on when the terrorists are first taking over the train, where there's like so much bloody like gunshot violence that I never saw, and I saw the edited version growing up so much.
Mm,
So yeah, I don't know. There you go. That movie's
worth
insane.
watching.
They take control of a satellite that can like destroy cities. It's so nuts.
Everyone had a fear of satellites at that time.
I guess so.
Fear of satellites and of the globalization of the internet connecting everybody, and being all of your
Actually,
information being public.
do you know what the second one doesn't have though? It doesn't have Gary Busey, which the first one does.
Mm, you're right.
That's true. And Tommy Lee Jones is fun in the first one too. But yeah, good fun.
I love it when he's not always just grizzled old man.
Yeah, he's a really wacky character in that. Cat, what did you just do? He just pressed a button in the TV remote and it's come up with some menu.
I don't know. Your whole room just shook.
Oh shit. Cat, what are you doing? Oh, he's upset. Cat, he's good.
Oh my God.
Cat. Oh my god, his claw's stuck in something and he's panicking.
Oh, take care of the kitty.
Cat, let me get to the claw. Oh my god.
Did you rescue him?
Yes. He does not look happy.
Poor kitty.
Oh my god. Could you
What a
hear
mess.
that? Because he was
Yeah.
bellowing there. Like, they start panicking, and you're like, all I need to do is pull your claw the opposite direction. That's all you're not doing. It just let me get into it, but he was scrambling and... Oh.
Kitties.
That's what you get for sleeping up there, Cat. I keep telling you, you're not allowed to sleep up on the desk. But you can sleep up on that side of the desk, but not behind my keyboard because there's a lot of buttons to press and whatnot. Um, yeah. So Timecop,
Should we rate it?
we
I don't
should
think you
rate it.
rated it.
Yeah, we should rate it. What are you rating Timecop?
Okay. Yeah, it's not good, but it is it's very watchable, very
hmm
fun, and we get peak Van Damme. We get so many splits, so many kicks.
Yeah,
Uh,
he does the splits a few times in other fight scenes. We didn't mention them because they're not as notable as the underwear one, but
the underwear one is like famous. Yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, we get he does the splits like in the first scene.
he does. Yeah, when he's fighting the guy in the
He
20s.
does it to like dodge a punch. Like he just does the
Yeah.
splits to get into a lower position. It's
Do
great.
you know what? I'm going to go to Google. I'm going to type in Time Cop, and I'm going to go to images, and I want to see how many in before it's the splits in the underwear because they're going to be here. I guarantee you. Right, poster, a couple of promo shots. Okay, so there's a few things in there. All right, it's further down than I was expecting. I honestly
Okay.
thought that image of the splits was going to be quite high up.
Yeah, I was thinking about getting it into like a big poster that I could put on that blank wall over there. Take up the whole thing.
I feel like I see the image of him doing that splits all the time, so I assumed the image would just be kind of
Yeah, it's
red,
pretty notable.
readily available. But
Anyway,
yeah. Anyway,
I think I think this is at least a 7, but because I love it, I'm gonna make it a 7.5.
okay, 7.5. Um, I am going to go with a 7. I think that's
Fair.
fair. I think I can't call it a great movie. It probably shouldn't even have a 7. um, what does it have? The average rating on IMDb, I think, is like 5.9.
Oh, that's too low.
Bit harsh, but
Doesn't
no.
anyone have fun at the movies anymore?
I know. All these snobs, not giving Time Cop its due. Um, I got something for later. Not for the show, just for you. You can look forward to it. So
Okay.
look at
Is it an
those.
image of JCVD?
It's a GIF of GCVD. So, no, that's Time Cop. That has been the boy, and I hope this like sprawling 2-hour epic of Time Cop has made up for Robo Vampire last month.
Yeah, Robo Vampire was a mess.
Yeah.
It was kind of a mess of a review. In fact, we just stopped reviewing it after like 20 minutes and just started talking about our lives.
Yes, that is a thing that happened. There was a lot of tangent in this, to be fair, but it was tangents that came from what we were talking about. It was tangents that came
Yeah.
from action movies or
It's like
sci-fi.
it's very similar to the Final Countdown review, I think.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Um, yeah. I've not told people that I used to be a time cop. So there
Oh,
was a lot of things in this. I was like, yeah, I remember sitting in that chair. Yeah, I remember the feeling of this. Yeah,
you should have brought more of that experience into the review.
it's classified. I can't talk. I mean,
Oh,
time travel's a fickle bitch.
are you gonna have to erase this whole video then?
Yeah, we'll have to do it again. All 2 hours. Yeah, I know. Yep, that has been us. That has been your bonus episode number 4, your supplemental episode. Hopefully you had fun. And who knows what we're going to be doing next month for the extra episode. I have no idea. I'm sure that's something we will debate and talk about over the next few weeks. But hopefully you had fun, and we will see you next time. Thank you so much for being patrons. Look out for the other stuff. Make sure you go and vote. Obviously, this is going up before the voting does, but we have picked what the next vote's going to be. And just make sure you go and vote before the end of the month on the next round of votes, both for this, for streams, and for Influx.
And if you have any suggestions on what you want us to watch, we have the reactor where you can submit.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
give
$5.
us some ideas of what to watch for bonus episodes or for just regular episodes of the Ace.
Yeah, $5 patrons can submit to the reactor. There's a few in there already. The actual list itself that you can look at has not been made yet, and that's on me. That's my bad. But there has been a few submitted. So please do go submit some more sci-fi movies, and we can add it to there. I think there's a couple that were on the vault before that I'm going to transport over, because they make more sense in the reactor now. But
I
yeah,
wonder if there's some that we've already done.
I don't think so.
Primer wasn't there.
Nah.
Hmm.
Yeah. You can look forward to more time travel movies. We've got a bunch of those scheduled over the next few months. Coming up on the regular episodes over the next couple of weeks, you have Terminator 2 coming. You have Time Crimes coming. You know, some interesting movies. You can look forward to that. What's the next one that's going up though this week? Or just went up? Oh, Martha just went up yesterday. That's what went up. Or today. That was today. Martha's up for
Oh, for
patrons today.
patrons.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a
So
Patreon pick.
it was. It was a vote. That was a vote winner. Yep. And the next
Mhm.
vote winner we're doing is Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which I think is the next one we're recording. It'll be a few weeks before you get that, but that's the next one
Ooh.
we're recording. So, yeah. So thank you very much for being patrons. We love you loads. Keep supporting us, please, and we'll keep giving you silly content like this that hopefully you find some amusement in. And yeah, keep watching sci-fi movies. And computer, that's salsa.
Yum yum.